Hello everyone and welcome back to Animation Pilgrimage, the show where Tennille and myself take a look at every single theatrically released animated film in chronological order. I'm Whitney.
I am Tennille.
And today we are taking a look at Doraemon, The Records of Nobita, Spaceblazer, aka...
What a title!
AKA Doraemon number 2, because we are here in the year of 1981. This was brought to us by Toho of Japan.
Yep. Yeah, this is the second Doraemon film. It is also based off the manga, one of the long-form stories of the manga series, I guess. And then this was remade in 2009.
Tennille, I'm gonna lay something down for you.
Uh-huh.
Doraemon redoes like at least 10 of their movies. So the first movie, we will be watching that again at like the 25th or 30th anniversary.
Oh my god.
And this one, and presumably like the next 5 to 10.
Well, look, okay, there is like no production notes to speak of for this that I can find available to me online, and I don't have any like, no insider information here. So the fact that it gets a remake is the only info I really have to give for this.
Well, I have some info.
Okay.
For the audience. We're immediately off to a better start than the last one, because there's less child nudity jokes.
Less.
By 1.
Less. Not completely gone.
Last time there were 3 nudity jokes, all at the expense of the young female character. This time there are 2 nudity jokes, 1 at her expense again, which is only in like the opening credits scroll, and then none in the rest of the movie, except we do see Nobita's butt at one point.
Yeah.
And like a butt is...
A butt is a butt.
A butt is a butt. It's not really that bad. But I'm including it anyways, just so people know that, like, that does still exist.
Yeah.
But there's not full frontal child nudity.
At least this time.
So, I don't know. 10 out of 10. Recommend over the first one.
I don't know. This one's, like, extremely similar to the last one.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, plot structure... The characters we see, the villains.
Everything about this is the same, except they pretty much just change the setting and slight nuances.
Yeah, and despite that, I think I liked this significantly more than the last one.
Yes.
Like, by quite a large margin. And it's definitely not because I really think that this movie's better. It just tickled my funny bone better than the other one did, I guess.
Well, how about we talk about the plot summary real quick?
Yeah.
And quick is quick.
You know how quick these go. They don't go quick. Let's get started.
Baseball is in the air. Japan's pastime, and the kids want to play baseball.
I hate baseball. Let's go.
Which means we're going to space.
Okay, I have one snarky comment to make right off the bat.
Okay.
And this is not a legitimate critique because I know it's the 80s and Japan is like super into space and like everybody's super into space. But my big snarky comment is, aren't you supposed to at least get to like sequel number 5 before you jump the shark and go into space?
You'd think that, but you gotta remember Doraemon is already a franchise that like...
He's like a space future cat thing.
He travels through time and space, so him going through time in the first movie and then space in the second one just kind of makes sense.
I know it does. It's just when we saw that it was the second film and it's like Spaceblazer, I'm like, now hold on. Really? Already? I know there's like 40 of these things. How are they already going to space?
Okay.
Anyway.
So the movie actually starts off proper with 2 characters that we've never met before, named Ropuri and...
Ropu.
Ropu?
It's usually what they just called him is... Or like they said it just as like a nickname, Ropu.
Yeah, Ropu and Chami. Who is just a little fuzzball thing. And they're flying through the opening of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like the first one, it's the under the ships.
Very clear parody, like homage
that
thing.
And then they do they're getting chased by a big evil spaceship, And so they do a warp in a very similar style to how Yamato does their warps. And then they end up in some sort of non-space location. Things get screwy. And
they get trapped in like warp time space, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. But while doing that, it makes a door on their ship open up into Nobita's bedroom. So Nobita and Doraemon...
underneath the
tatami mat.
The tatami mat, yeah.
Yeah. So they go to the spaceship, they fix it with their MacGuffin items, and then they say goodbye and the movie's over. Wait, we're only 20 minutes in. Hey, it's just like the last movie. Like, seriously.
Where everything is broken up into segments because it's based off a manga, and so there's like the volumes of the story where things kind of wrap up but still also continue. Also, I want to point this out because this is like a loose thread that never really goes anywhere, but the Uropu and Chami immediately comment about how the air is so bad on Earth.
Yeah.
And like, it's this constant thing that they like bring up is just like, the air, so bad, can't breathe. But then like, that doesn't go anywhere.
Nope, doesn't go anywhere at all.
It's just a bit of social commentary and I kind of love it.
The rest of the movie, Nobita and Doraemon just kind of jump in between their room and, what is the name of the planet? Koya Koya.
Yeah.
Koya Koya, which is like a frontier planet where this kid and his family lives. And they're farming
the land. And yeah.
There's an evil, like this ship from the beginning is from an evil mining company that technically owns the planet and wants to get rid of everybody on the planet so they can mine things. And so Nobita and Doraemon just kind of go back and forth. And because this planet is smaller and they're using Superman rules because the gravity's weaker, they're stronger, they can beat people up and like, I don't know. So they spend their time beating up the bad guys and farming and doing math and other things like that.
Doing math?
Yeah, like he teaches the Ropu's sister how to do like string finger...
Cat's cradle?
Cat's cradle stuff. I know, but they also do math.
Okay.
Like they do homework. And they can just do as much of this as they want because one day on this planet is 1 hour on Earth. So they can just run over here and do whatever the hell they want and then come back and like no time's passed.
Yeah.
So it's essentially the same idea as the past movie where they go into the past and then they teleport directly back to the time they were just there and just having adventures in a weird planet as compared to the dinosaur past.
Honestly, I really liked this fantasy more than the going back in time and hanging out with dinosaurs one of the last one. Like, this one made me feel more like I got what Doraemon's about, where, you know, it's all about like kind of just like kid wish fulfillment fantasies that they are going to be going on. And I thought this one was a lot cooler. There were a lot more like concepts to latch onto. There were a lot more things that like when they would happen, I was like, ooh, well, I wonder if like this would ever be explored or this or that. And, you know, none of those ideas were explored, but it was just like a lot more creative, I guess. It got my brain working a whole lot more with like, oh, well, if 24 hours is only an hour in Earth time, well, then maybe the conflict is going to be that, like, Nobita's parents are noticing that, like, Nobita is growing up faster because, like, the time difference and stuff. But, like, of course, like, that's something that's not really brought up. But it's still, like, an interesting concept that the movie just kind of gives to you, even though it doesn't do anything with it.
Yeah. So they essentially experience 1 year on this planet. And by the end, the bad mining guys are like, all right, we've discovered the door that these supermen keep coming through, so we're going to blow it up. And then they do it, which fractures the connectivity. So it's like the two doors are drifting apart and they're going to not be able to connect to each other soon.
No, they blow up the door and find out about this because they kidnap a child and essentially like torture him
They're
And
like,
like,
we're gonna kill you if you don't tell us where this thing is, kid.
this movie gets dark.
Oh,
like really dark.
Nobita and Doraemon straight up kill people.
Oh yeah, they're murdering people.
Repeatedly.
Yeah, they're blowing holes like directly through spaceships.
And like, we saw those spaceships just
with
like
people.
with like 2 people in each of those ships, and now they just blew a hole through where the people are, so those people are very dead.
Doraemon has like this line where he's basically like, oh yeah, I forgot about my bazooka. And he just like pulls it out and starts murdering people. What the heck?
He doesn't say bazooka, but yes, it's just
It's
like
some kind of bazooka.
it's like a magnifying gun where it makes Nobita's bullets huge.
No, he has that, but then he also like pulls out a bazooka.
No, it's like an air cannon thing.
Same effect, different name. I don't care.
Okay. They run around and kill a bunch of people. The doors are falling apart. Nobita and gang go back over. They bring some of their other friends. They beat the bad guys one last time because the bad guys wanted to blow up the planet now instead of mining it.
Okay, so the bad guys' motivation is that they want to get rid of everybody else on the planet because there's this super special ore on the planet that when you put 2 pieces of it together, it creates like an intense amount of energy that, you know, they want to use for bad, evil things. So their plan then escalates to, we're going to destroy the planet. And this special ore crystal thing is never brought back up again, even though the movie takes time to explain what it is, why it's so powerful, why they would want to use it.
And then it's just
never
dropped.
Comes back.
Yeah, it's essentially dropped.
Uh-huh.
Even though that's supposed to be the reason they're fighting over this planet. Whatever.
Yeah.
They beat the bad guys. The space police show up, just like last time when the time police show up and save the day. And then they have to say goodbye to the people on the planet forever because the doors are going to be falling apart and they can't get back otherwise. So they have a goodbye, and then they go back and they're all good.
To be honest, I don't know why they would go back to Earth.
Yeah, this other planet's just better in every way.
Yeah, just cooler.
The side plot of this movie is the baseball part. So his friends, quote unquote friends, the two other male children that beat the crap out of him and
they
pick
suck
on him constantly, want him to find a place where they can play baseball. So they go to the planet. They lose their baseballs because they can throw them really far now because
the gravity on that planet.
They get angry at him. They tell him he can't play baseball with them anymore. They show up with him at the end to save the day, and then he can play baseball with them again at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
So again, I want to emphasize that this was in no way better than the last film. It still has a ton of like plot holes and like plot holes don't necessarily make things bad, but they're like obvious story structure. Like we did not think about why this would be important for A, B, and C along the plot line. Like it's a very loosely told story, and like that's fine. Again, this is all about like just kind of being kid wish fulfillment stuff, and I think on that front it does a really good job, but it is still very flawed.
Yeah, it's very straightforward, basic. Feels like the first movie, but better. Just like, I think overall in every aspect, everything's just a little bit better. Okay, one aspect that's not better. They use the exact same music. They play the exact same songs that have lyrics in them. So the opening credits, the closing credits, and the one song in the middle where they're praising Doraemon for being the best thing in the world.
We'll have to
same songs.
We'll have to see how long they use the same song.
I'm assuming it's because they just made a bunch of these movies back to back to back because they're making one per year.
Yeah.
They just got to churn these things out. They don't got time or budget to make new songs every time.
Well, we should, yeah, who knows? Also, the formula of these films, like, if we hit the third one next year and it has the exact same story structure formula,
I'm going to get real tired.
We're going to get real tired real fast because Doraemon just being the one to just like essentially pull the answer out of like literally out of his little pouch pocket thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, that's why you have a character like this around, but like it's going to get old real fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's already pretty old.
I hope they can expand on it and maybe let some of the other characters have some sort of influence and actual control of the situation and not just rely simply on Doraemon.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but there's 41 of these. You gotta hope that at least one of them
something
lets
has
Nobita...
to change things up because
you gotta hope at least one of these lets Nobita do something.
A clear formula.
Tangential thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting a fight with people in the comments.
From the last Doraemon review we did?
His name is Doraemon. It's not Doraemon. It's Doraemon. Here are multiple clips of them saying Doraemon from the movie.
Doraemon, 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 Doraemon.
His name is Doraemon. Don't tell me it's pronounced differently. I don't care if it's pronounced differently in a different language. In Japanese, it's pronounced Doraemon, so I'm calling him Doraemon.
I'm calling whatever comes out of my mouth at the moment because, like, that's just what happens with me. I try to say Doraemon because, yeah, that's how they were saying it in the movie. But you know, sometimes I say Doraemon.
Mm-hmm. Well, either way, I think that's the end of this review. If you are forced to watch one of the first two Doraemon movies,
go for the second one.
Go for the second one.
It's got some cool concepts, some neat ideas, cool space stuff.
Otherwise, I wouldn't really necessarily recommend this unless you really just want to watch it. There's nothing super offensive.
But it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was totally fine.
It's not a must-watch, but you'll be fine if you watch this. Yeah. It's not going to kill you.
Wow.
Well, either way, next time we're staying in Japan, but we're going to a new company.
Oh, brand new company?
I don't know if the company's brand new, but it's the first time they've brought us a movie.
Okay.
Studio Madhouse.
Oh,
is bringing us
Madhouse.
The Fantastic Adventures of Unico.
Ooh, okay.
See you then.
Yeah.